In my last video, we revealed the Oscar aquarium. In today's video, you guys guessed it and requested it, the reveal on the electric eel aquarium. Now I know this fish has been moved around quite a bit, and before we get into the why this happened, I want to show you how it happened. This aquarium is so awesome, and you guys are only seeing this side of it. Wait till you see the rest. In this test of the electric eel aquarium, which are kind of tests, and you'll find out here why shortly, this 180-gallon aquarium was put right against this wall. You'll remember it used to be here. Yeah, and it housed my lionfish, which we still have. He's just in another aquarium. But we put it against this side. We threw in a 3D background and some sand, thinking that's all it needs. However, this aquarium and everything going on about it was inspired by, well, the 700-gallon. If I were to stand right here, directly that way, about 30 feet over there, is the 700. And something else is lined up directly with this. I knew what I had to do, but it was going to be dangerous. We removed the aquarium background first. The electric eel doesn't necessarily attack me or come at me unless it tastes food in the tank. With the background out, I started to add in 50% of the tree trunk, which is around 3 feet wide and almost 2 feet front to back. And that's just half of it. This used to be in the 700-gallon. But alas, when this was in the 700-gallon, which is 28 inches tall, and this is only 24, I realized I was going to have to cut the background. The only way you can cut these backgrounds is with a powerful saw, and I chose a reciprocating saw. With them shaved down, I was able to put the background in place. Now, because behind it is empty, I was also able to hide the inputs to the filtration and add heaters if needed. So essentially, no equipment in view. And then of course, adding the top to it, which goes up another 4 feet or so, making this aquarium almost touch the ceilings. The ceilings in here are around 8'4". They're technically not 8-foot ceilings like you would see in a normal home. And we're about 10 inches to a foot away from it. From there, within the aquarium, I took all the Anubias that I had, or a lot of the Anubias, and put it in the crevices. Because believe it or not, and I'm going to expose it here shortly, but the electric eel doesn't come from massive amounts of water at this size. At smaller sizes, it prefers smaller tanks, foliage, darker water, more dramatic lighting. It doesn't have great eyesight. But what it does need is constant security. It's very similar to the flower horn, where we start them off in 10, 15-gallon tanks, and the tanks progressively get bigger with the fish. With a bunch of Anubias added, I decided this tree needs to be a tree. I want it to look like something else in the gallery that you guys don't know about, but if you can't wait, become a member of the channel, or OnlyFins as we call it, and everything's been exposed over and over and over again, from the 700 to the 2000 to what's going on in the basement of my house. I attached a bunch of vines to the ceiling and the walls, but I didn't want it to be, and I still might add more because it kind of looks like it's not that full, but that's all I had at the time. Just ordered them off of Amazon. And they go all along the walls, and this is a 16-foot long wall, and it really blends in to the Oscar aquarium, which has different types of plants in it, but the aesthetic is almost like creating the public aquarium that I tried to launch that flopped. This is kind of sort of what it would have been like. And man, I couldn't be more happier. This aquarium is absolutely phenomenal. The electric eel is incredibly happy. Why? And why do we keep moving him? lack of experience. But now that I've been back to travel, I'm able to get to public aquariums, talk to zoologists, talk to people who actually study the electric eel in the wild, and figuring out exactly what they require and why when I go to public aquariums, electric eels a lot of the times are in really small tanks unless they're really big. Then they're in really big tanks. Simply put, it's a sense of security. You'll notice that he's constantly swimming around, he's constantly exploring, he's constantly using his sonar and truly enjoying the tank, but you'll also notice that he kind of like stays under the plants when he wants to, when he needs that little sense of security. And you'll remember that when he was in the 375 gallon, 8 feet long, 3 feet wide, 2 feet tall, he spent all his time back there in a small 2x2 section. So I created 2 of them, a 2x2 section here, and maybe similar to that on the other side, where he just continues going back and forth, exploring it. In the wild, these smaller guys will stay in smaller volumes of water, and while they don't have any real natural predators, most fish do have that survival instinct where if you go out into open water, that's where the bigger guys are. But the most important thing, and I kept getting confused, was they need warm water, they need cool water. Technically, in the wild, these guys come from incredibly murky, tannin-filled, darkish water, very warm, low oxygen, which leads to why it became an obligate air breather, meaning that when it goes to the surface, it's gulping air, not like a labyrinth fish like a gourami or a beta or betta, because they have a labyrinth organ behind their brain, which kind of dilutes all of that air and oxygen. These guys hold it in their mouth. They hold it in their mouth. Case in point, if you've ever seen me feed this guy, you'll notice that when he goes to bite the food at first, a bunch of bubbles come out of his mouth. Now, viewer discretion, what I'm about to show you is pretty gross. Inside of the electric eel's mouth is not a row of nasty teeth, but rather folds of skin. And in holding these gulps of air in the mouth, it dilutes and dissolves through those folds of skin, and that's how it gets its oxygen. So, it technically requires darker water, high temperatures, slow moving, and low oxygen. And technically, oxygen levels don't really matter. Clean water is important with any fish because the electric eel in captivity is prone to certain internal organ failure issues, which we'll cover in the future. But since putting him in here, watch this, he loves it. If I do that, he thinks he's gonna eat and he'll come up to the surface. I've trained him. Some people say, oh, don't tap on the glass. Well, I've trained my fish that if I tap on the glass, it's time to eat. So I don't like to do it a lot because now I've got to feed him in a few minutes. Originally, he was in the 375. I needed the 375. And a lot of the times when I'm explaining some past videos or what's to come, I have to almost sort of mislead you so that you don't know what's to come because I want you to watch my next video. Originally, when we did get him, he was in a 180-gallon aquarium. It was bare beside some sand, and he was like right here, the warmest part in the gallery because my heat pump is right there. He was more like this, but eventually we thought, I don't want this awesome fish on the ground. Let's put him in the new 180 in the house. The house is much cooler than the gallery, cooler water. He didn't eat as much, he wasn't active as much. Go figure, we slowed his metabolism down. We thought, let's bring him out to the 375 then. Much bigger tank, better temperatures, he'll be fine. But he just spent all his time back here. Tank is too big for him. So back to a 180 again, and it was the same thing, except this tank wasn't in the wall. It still had a 3D background. The water temperature was much cooler. I thought I was wrong all along about the electric eel, thinking that it needed cooler waters. It's technically the opposite. They prefer warmer waters, and because they come from low oxygen content water, which tends to be warmer. The warmer water is, the less ability it has to hold oxygen. The cooler the water is, the more oxygen it has within it. Having the electric eel in the basin and being one of my coolest fish and being a fish that really adds to the aesthetic out here had to be done. When I started working on the 700 is when I got the idea for this. I haven't seen him act like this, and this has been done for a while now. And it's just absolutely awesome watching him swim in and amongst the Anubias plants, seemingly doing it on purpose, almost like a cat that needs to rub its back on your leg or something. Do you know what I mean? However, this tank is connected to the 180 gallon sump below the 375 that the 375 is connected to, that the 2000 is connected to, that the 700 gallon is connected to. In fact, the entire south side of the aquarium gallery is now on automated water changes, which we'll need to cover here in the near future. In the near future, I'm going to do a couple of more videos on the electric eel, keeping them educational. There's two I really want to do. One is, of course, everything that you need to know about the electric eel, obviously which would be useful if you ever plan to keep one. But more importantly, it's just absolutely fascinating information. This video will be constructed with my hands-on experience, research, as well as interviews I've done with zoologists and ichthyologists that specifically study the electric eel. We're also going to be diving into a really exciting video about some facts that you don't know about the electric eel that are absolutely shocking. And if you guys want to see those, let me know in the comment section below. Subscribe if you're not already. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope that the gallery is kind of becoming what you thought, and let me know which tank you want to see next. Personally, I'm dying to show you the 2000 and everything that's happened there, so maybe we'll do that in the next video. If that's your choice, hit the thumbs up button right now. But until then, I think that I'll just sit right here at this desk, and no matter which direction I sit in, it's just absolutely amazing. And once again, I thought to myself, when I launched the public aquarium, which was heartbreaking that it never happened, nothing due to my own issues. The lease was broken, put us behind several years. I made a video on that. This happened years ago. You guys know I always try to do something really big for you every year. And I was heartbroken because the surprise was I was going to open it up to the public for free. I felt like the content would pay for everything on its own. Maybe there's merch or things that you could buy while there, but you can come in for free. That was the big surprise. Of course, you just can't come in whenever you want. I was going to do 3 tours a day, probably 3 days a week. You'd have to book in advance, and probably 10 people would come and tour the public aquarium gallery for free with me. And I got to admit that that's weighed on my heart ever since with it not happening. And I've been recently thinking, what's stopping you from doing it to the aquarium gallery? What would happen if you took your existing aquariums and turned them into mini exhibits? Well, that's what we're doing, and I hope you guys like it. See you in the next one. Hope you like this tank, because well, even if you don't, I do. I think it's awesome.